Good morning and welcome to Cheche. It's the program where opinion counts, and we're live on Citizen TV. I'm Udwaka Mimo. Well, today's guest has found himself in the news this past week for a number of reasons. He says that if he becomes a senator next March, he will try to impeach both Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto over the charges they face at the International Criminal Court if either of them is elected president. He is a key ally of Vice President Kilonzo Musyoka, a negotiator for his party, the Wiper Democratic Movement. And as Education Minister, he is proposing novel measures in the Basic Education Bill to align the country to the new Constitution and to the Vision 2030. He is the MP for Mboni, the Honorable Mutula Kilonzo. Also on Cheche today, panelists Citizen TV's Mutegi Njau and political analyst David Makali. Good morning and welcome to the program. We'll start with the politics of education first, because of course one of the key features of this basic education bill you're proposing is a National Council of Education for nomadic peoples. How will that work?
Oh, it's perhaps the best thing that I've ever done because a huge chunk of our country comprises pastoralists, people who move from place to place following pasture, and yet they have children. Right now, although I would like to tell you that we have more than 1 million children out of school, and it is out of that realization and in consultation with my colleague in the Ministry for Northeastern Kenya that we have come up with this formula, a special unit dealing specifically with children in nomadic areas. And that is not just only in areas looking after livestock. Even in fisheries, you find for those people who rely on fishing, if the fish stock goes down, they move to another place.
Okay.
And yet, a parent who doesn't take his child to school under the new bill, he's committing an offense. He can be prosecuted and fined. So therefore, we have to come up with a unit, a special unit, to advise the national government on policy, mobile schools, how to register those schools, how to facilitate education for our children. I mean, if we were in a rally, I would be asking you to clap for me.
You're not Uncle Bob. But these nomadic areas have been the scenes of insecurity in recent times. Tana River Delta, Turkana, the Baragoy massacre. How do your plans mitigate against this insecurity?
Indeed, they do. Again, if you have a small group like us now, the four of us, we sit in a particular area. We know that our neighbors, our peers are moving from place to place, and that there is threat of insecurity, say Samburu, say Isiolo, places like Tana River Delta. Obviously, we will have advanced information. As you probably already know, these clashes in Tana River Delta started with two students fighting in a school. That is the information that we have. And then they all ganged up together, something similar to 2007 in Band Forest. And therefore, what this proposal, and it has been unanimously accepted by all the stakeholders, don't believe those who say that Mutula is proposing a law that is unacceptable. It has been accepted by the churches. I have met with the Catholic Church countless times. It's an idea of ensuring that we are not allowing leakage when it comes to access to education, so that whether you are in an area that is challenged in those regards, you can still get education. It's something that is very exciting. And by the way, I will be going a little further. The moment this law is enacted, and I wish Parliament could do so this week, because it is ready, I will also be proposing to Kenya methods of dealing with children in slums, because that is another area of serious concern, where you find single parents, you find children who are put in a place, the school is not registered, and it is very embarrassing.
Okay, David, what's your opinion? Because I noticed you furrowing your brow.
Yeah, no, just the education sector has a lot of chaos there going on. And even the proposals you're making obviously are commendable. There's no doubt that that needs intervention.
So you clap for me?
I will clap at the end of the show. But, you know, there are more pressing issues of the inability of the ministry to regulate the schools you know, this whole tuition business that has been going on. Throughout last term, you were, you know, shouting, but the still tuition was going on behind the doors, resulting in even in some, you know, disasters in
children dying
and so forth. Why is it that the ministry is unable to control the education sector properly and the teachers, private and public, to listen to you?
As a matter of fact, that is the reason I believe I'm in the Ministry of Education. The law that the country is using is tired. It's a 1968 enactment. Even if you ask my brother here, Mutegi, you won't be honest as to where he was in 1968. You might find he was in primary school.
Yes.
It's a very tired law. And therefore, in order to deal with these problems, what the country has been doing, once in a while issue circulars, once in a while issue papers,
yes,
which are then ignored because they really don't have a legislative base. So for tuition now,
which you've banned.
The moment, yes, but that was now a ban using ministerial authority, government authority. In the basic education bill, I've made it an offense. You'll be committing an offense. And holiday tuition will be abolished, whether paid for or not, so that our children can be children. So therefore, to answer your question, please allow me, in the short time that I have, because I've been in the ministry now 6 months, and there is only another maybe 3 weeks left before Parliament goes, and I go to Makueni to campaign for senator. The fact of the matter is,
we'll talk about that later.
The fact of the matter is, please allow me, with Honorable Kamar, to finish the reforms we have put together, because we are working with Honorable Kamar like hand in glove. We have structured the education sector right from early childhood all the way to university, new university law, and so on and so on. So things like...
what do you identify to be the problem that brings about tuition? Is it that teachers want to make an extra buck, or is it that there is too much work? The workload cannot be covered within the terms specified, such that they have to create more time to actually cover the syllabus?
It's a racket. Of course, you are almost like a politician. You want to babysit people. It's a racket. The fact of the matter is, why holiday tuition? Since 2003, immediately President Kibaki came into office, policy was issued, no paid holiday tuition. It's a contradiction of the Teacher Service Commission Code of Conduct. But nobody was implementing it. It was just lying there. I found it. It's not like I'm a magician. I found this policy already on board. My work was to say, I'm putting my foot down.
But how do you deal with children who are not at par with others?
Oh, that is easy. We call that, it's not holiday tuition.
It is tuition.
No, it isn't. Please be careful.
Isolate the two.
Yeah.
Please, I have.
Yes.
Please, let's understand each other. If you have a class of 40 students,
yes,
and there is child number 40,
yes,
child number 39,
yes,
all the way to 35,
yeah,
you can select those children, and then you offer them what is called remedial tuition.
Yeah, that's tuition.
But remedial tuition is not paid for under the Code of Conduct for teaching, under all international standards. You select that child for one-to-one, that is teacher-student, so that you raise their performance.
But you cannot say it's not paid when it is, and especially because teachers claim that is extra work.
It isn't.
Extra work.
I wish it was.
Hang on, you've given us a class size of 40. I've been to schools where you have class sizes of 75.
The principle is still the same. Please trust me.
Anyway,
if you are correcting a child, or you have, in special cases, those children with learning disabilities, and I have also sent to the Attorney General, and I don't know what they are doing, a new law for persons with learning disabilities. You might find the child who is coming number 40 up to 35, probably as dyslexia, or as autism, or as some other challenge. Now, those are the children who are separated.
No, Mr. Mutula, that can't be true. I mean, in a class, there must be number 1 and there must be number 40. It cannot be that the people who are last are disabled or have shortcomings.
Makali, that's why I'm saying you're being a politician. So tell me something. If we are 40 and I'm number 40, then you call us for holiday tuition, all 40 of us, how shall I become number 1? The same lesson you are teaching to all of us together keeps me again at the bottom, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So you have to pick me separately and offer me your attention. Me and
Undivided.
you.
Yes.
Undivided.
Yes.
So that then I can at least leap over several others to change my position.
Okay.
To be
But
number
you
5.
call us
So that somebody
together.
else becomes number 40, right?
Okay.
Please bear with me, because I'm the one who has
cycling.
learned these things. You know, Mutegi here thinks that I only know law. I know a number of other things. The fact is, in order for this child who is number 40 to come to number 35, to leapfrog over 39 and 36, you have to give that child special attention. And it is called remedial tuition. And it is not paid for.
Let me just
Okay, you
say
allow-
this, on that subject. I think that people have blamed that whole problem because, I mean, as I've said, if you replace number 40 with number 35, still it'll be number 40. So you'll keep repeating. The one who becomes number 35, the one who goes to 40. For how long will you do that? I think the problem, in my view, is that this system of ranking is hierarchical, which people have said we should disable that and
indeed.
assess people on the basis of
Now
this
you are
stuff.
talking.
Now you should hire me as a
That is
assistant.
yeah, absolutely. You are consultant. That is, in fact, what
Mutegi.
the ministry has come up with, a method so that the grading of children is not necessarily academic or
exam-oriented.
exam-based or that sort of thing. But you are forgetting another thing, particularly in the urban centers. You find parents don't have time to spend with the children, and therefore they are happy to part with a few 1,000 shillings during holiday time, so that this child is taken away. I'm not doing this to incite the parents, but I have found specific reasons why holiday tuition grew and continued to grow.
Okay.
Now, there is the issue of tuition moving away from schools to private places. You have banned that one in schools, but the children still gather somewhere else during the holiday and be taught, and the parents will pay.
I'll catch up with them.
You catch up.
How would you catch it? The teacher will just move away from the class
no.
to some private house.
Trust me.
That happens every...
You know, you're forgetting that we constitutionalized the Teacher Service Commission under Article 237, and as soon as I walked into the ministry, within a month, 2 months, we had the Teacher Service Commission Act. And in that act, the teacher, once registered, is answerable to the Teacher Service Commission for discipline, deployment, and everything else. And since the Code of Conduct says you cannot offer holiday tuition for payment, the Teacher Service Commission will catch up.
They will
with
not know. They will go to a private house. They will come to my house. I teach them.
Especially-
I'm as a teacher. And I charge the parents, and they will not know.
I wish you could see the amount of SMSs I get whenever there is holiday tuition or some...
Actually, the SMSs are pouring in. One of the questions coming from Sirma and Ember is what do you consider to be a fair student-pupil ratio, given that this person accuses you of making erratic changes to the education sector?
Well, the word erratic is misinformed, but he's entitled to his opinion. The fact of the matter is teacher-student ratio should be a maximum of 40. Ideally, it should be 35.
35.
That is the rate that we are using in the ministry.
Okay. Why take when will the first early childhood teacher be employed in Kenya or even get a TSC number? Why are we being discriminated against? And that came from Alice.
I agree with Alice completely. It's very unfair for a country like this, where early childhood education teachers are discriminated against. They are not paid. They are not employed by the Teacher Service Commission. But that is also over. It's only that we have not internalized Article 237. The only employer of teachers in Kenya is the Teacher Service Commission. They are the ones to set standards for teaching, for teachers, and accordingly, by April next year, you will begin to see changes. Why? Because we do not have counties yet. The counties will emerge from the 4th March elections, and at that point, early childhood education has been allocated to the counties.
Okay. The other thing you're trying to do with this education bill of yours is to entrench democracy. You're asking that instead of prefects being appointed, that schools conduct elections for prefects. Explain your reasoning.
Do you blame me? I'm a Democrat. I've been a Democrat all my life.
We'll get to that
And
after
I
the break.
believe that, and this has also been widely accepted. It's one of the reasons you have seen riots and other disruptions of learning in schools, where the teachers just get together. You saw the debate. You are the station that started claiming that Mutula is demanding miniskirts. And I haven't seen anybody here wearing one. The fact of the matter is that those decisions are made ignoring the child. And since I facilitated the new constitution, Article 53, Sub-Article 2 says, in matters involving the child's interests are paramount. And therefore, we have structured the education sector to ensure that when whatever decisions are being made, the Students' Council, which should be comprised of students elected by the students themselves, participate as ex-officio members of the decision-making body.
At primary school level?
No, all the way down. Even in ECD, well, you'll be surprised what I've been able to see going to schools. These children, these rights that we have given to our children are direct to the child, not to the teacher, not to the parent. And therefore, by involving them from the very beginning, early childhood, to know that you can hold elections, then you avoid the tribal clashes, you avoid the post-election violence, you avoid all these things. We have to start teaching our people how the national values and principles of governance under Article 10.
Okay, we have to take a break, but there's a question on something you raised. Children with special needs, and a parent is asking whether there's any money set aside for them because they find they cannot pay the fees, they're too high.
Yes, and I agree with the parent. Yes. What I found in the ministry is unfortunate. A lot of people are just seeing the surface. I've visited now the first minister to visit schools of persons with learning disabilities. I went to Thika, and even one of the media houses has done an interview, and I found a child who cannot see, is blind, and her sense of touch is not there, meaning she cannot even use Braille. She's using the tongue for purposes of operating a computer. I suggest you go and interview her. You'll be very, very surprised.
But the question is there money set
we are
aside?
not giving enough money to these institutions, but starting January, that we are going to do.
How so?
Starting January, we have factored these monies. We are hoping to get some money during the supplementary estimates so that we can increase the allocation to persons with special needs. Autism, the blind, the deaf, we are ignoring a fundamental feature of God's creation.
Okay, we have to take a break, but David,
Just the final one on this tuition matter. I mean, obviously, people listening to you just think that is hot air, that is rhetoric, Nairobi stuff. In the grassroots, people are forcing parents to pay tuition for
not just in the grassroots, even in Nairobi.
There are many in Mount Village, there are many going on. But anyway, the point is, what should a parent do when they're being asked to take the kids for tuition and to pay for it? What should they do?
The immediate thing is to report to the district education officer, followed by the county director of education, and thereafter to the ministry, or even direct to my ministry, to me, to my office. And you'll be surprised. A number of schools, even in Nairobi, I threatened to deregister them, and they sent the children home. And because if I catch a school doing holiday tuition, trust me, I will not even consult you.
Holiday or weekend tuition?
Or whatever, holiday or weekend. I will deregister it because it is a violation of the rights of that child. And there is no provision for it, and it is not necessary. Why? Because the curricula that we offer to our schools, to answer your question, the curricula we offer to our schools is agreed in advance with all stakeholders, 39 or 38 weeks per year. And we then facilitate free primary education, we facilitate free day secondary education. You hear another excuse, there is a shortage of teachers. But you go to all schools, you find if indeed, and that is the case because we have a shortage of about 70,000 teachers. You find that the Board of Governors has already recruited a teacher to fill in the gaps that there are. So ultimately, all these are excuses. And the parents sometimes are involved, as I say, in urban centers, but in the schools, primarily the school heads and so on. But that is history. I thought you wanted to interview me on current affairs. I abolished holiday tuition. It stands abolished, and if I catch a school doing it, I will deregister it. Because this is a very serious matter. Okay,
we have to take a break now. You're watching Cheche live on Citizen TV. Our guest this morning is Education Minister and Mboni MP, the Honorable Mutula Kilonzo. If you have any questions for him, you can SMS 2442 or tweet Cheche_TV. When we return, we discuss his political track record.